When was the last time you cried? And did you feel safe about it? I was talking to a good friend of mine this week, and we were talking about vulnerability and how there's power in being vulnerable, right? For many people, especially men, we have been taught, we've been raised, we've been conditioned to see vulnerability and transparency as weakness. Because if someone can know what you are thinking, what you're feeling on the inside, they can take that and use that to their advantage, which can happen. It's sad that there's so many men walking around not able to express the wide spectrum of emotion that God has given them. Talking to this friend, he said something really unusual. If I was in a headspace where I was like maybe last year or maybe 5 years ago, he asked me if I cried today. He was like, crying is such a release. He's like, he's like, for so many men, they're holding back tears. I know I'm guilty of that. When my dad died in 2020, I didn't cry. I didn't cry at his funeral. It's unfortunate that I couldn't cry. I had a hard time crying because growing up, my father said I cried too much, like a little girl. And I internalized that. And I wanted to be this manly man. So I was like, I can't cry anymore. And that was wrong. My father was wrong, just like I was wrong. And so many other men are wrong. It's okay to feel, it's okay to emote. You know, two books in particular have been really foundational for changing this perspective shift. One is Cry Like a Man by Jason Wilson, A Sacred Sorrow by Michael Card. I read these books before my dad died. It's funny. And I remember I tried to tell my dad about it, about, being in touch with your feelings and God, be in touch with your feelings as a man, and God is perfectly acceptable of accepting our pain as worship. I remember trying to explain that to my dad, and he kind of like, yeah, I could see it, but it was only after. It's funny, I got introduced to those books before he died, and I had a hard time, in fact, living out those books out. It was only until other things happened where I could see not only is there beauty in this, be a man is to be human, right? And God has given us the capabilities to feel so much and to express. Now, obviously, you can't express everything to everyone, but with myself, I should feel comfortable to cry with myself, to share my pain with myself, with trusted loved ones, with God, and be like, I know that I'm in a safe space, that I can cry, and I know it doesn't make me less of a man, because God not only accepts that as praise, but He allows me to feel in order for me to heal. So, have you cried today? And was it a good cry?